welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we've got a cool looking puzzle for you today called Extreme Roping by Listesh. Now Listesh has appeared on the channel a few times before, and well, normally Listesh's puzzles are very, very hard indeed. They're brilliant, but they are normally a struggle. Now I am assured that this one is approachable, so big thanks to David Clamage Ranks for recommending this one to us. Apparently it's really a gorgeous solve, so I'm looking forward to giving it a go, and I don't have much to tell you today. In fact, the only thing I wanted to mention is that we are continually creeping up towards 400,000 subscribers, a number we could never have dreamed about, believe me, even a couple of years ago. So if you do watch the channel and you're not subscribed, please help us to get there, because then we get to make this video that we're looking forward to making, where we answer the community questions, and we have had a lot of questions already. And if you do have a question you'd like to ask us and to see us answer in that video, then do email us at crackingthecryptic@gmail.com. I nearly forgot our email address then, but that is indeed it. So send us a question and please subscribe, and then we'll be good to go. Now let's get on with this one, but just before we start, it's called Extreme Roping, and it might be worth me just spending a moment especially looking at the pattern of the grid, to explain what roping is in a Sudoku. Roping is it's a description of a pattern that occurs in rows and columns. So let's just look at it here. Imagine those 3 digits were the same as those 3 digits, and ignore all the lines in the grid. Just imagine there was a Sudoku in which those 3 cells were the same as those 3 cells. Well, this gives you the opportunity to create Neapolitan ice creams, basically, because now you can think about where purple is going to go in box 7. Clearly, it's going to have to go there, because this digit will find a friend in one of these 3 cells, and therefore have to be in one of these 3 cells, and that logic will apply throughout the stripe. And now think about these 3 squares. So where are those 3 squares going to appear in box 4? Well, they can't go there by Sudoku, and they can't be purple because these green cells already see all those purples, so whatever's in purple is definitely not in green. So they'd have to go there, which means they go there at the bottom, and of course this is why I'm saying we get this pattern down the grid, and this is called roping, and it occurs wherever you get three digits here which are the same, aligned if you like, in so it could be aligned in those 3, or it could be aligned in those 3. Either way round, this logic will apply. So that is roping, and I imagine well, you can see why. Look at these palindromic lines in the grid, and I'll read you the instructions, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be relevant for how we solve the puzzle. So what are the rules? We have got normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage. There's nothing about digits not repeating. Oh, okay, digits can't repeat in a cage quite clearly because they're all in the same box of the Sudoku, so we don't have to worry about that. Each grey line is a palindrome, i.e. the string of digits on it reads the same in both directions, e.g. 137471. So what that means is, let's look at this palindrome line, and let's say we worked out this square was a 1. We would then instantly be able to say that this square was a 1 as well, because remember, with a palindrome, as we read it in this direction, the first digit, the second digit, the third digit, fourth digit, fifth digit, sixth digit, we need to be reading the same string of digits as if we started from here. So actually, let's just fill in the whole thing so it's clear. 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. You can see that reads exactly the same as if I start from this end. 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. So that's how palindromes work. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. My first thought here is this is just a colour festival. Because, well, yes, in fact, look, yeah. The roping technique is instantly obvious. Because of the palindromes, these 3 cells have got to be the same as those 3 squares. So let's highlight them. And now where do these go in box 8 of the grid? They've got to go in those 3 squares, but they bounce back on this palindrome up here. I don't know if we're going to be able to continue. So we now already know we've got roping in the central 3 columns of the grid. So why don't we complete the rope shading like this? And in fact, look, that gets exposure to another of these palindromes, so that must all turn green. And therefore we'll make these ones, I don't know, blue, for example. We get a blue here, so that's got to be blue. Now, well, that's interesting. Yeah, okay, so we've now got forced, in fact, you always get forced roping because of these palindromes. Look at these squares. They've clearly now got to be purple because these 3 digits here are not green and they're not blue. So we know that therefore they must be purple because that's the only other colour of digits in the grid, which means those are purple. Now these 3 squares here can't be blue, so they must be green because they can't also be purple, which means those squares are green, look, and therefore these squares are all blue. And we're creating a very pretty pattern. The green here means those are green, therefore these are blue. These are on a palindrome, so those are blue, those are blue. These are now purple, these are purple. I'm enjoying this, and all of those are green. So there we go. We've roped the grid, and well, extreme roping is a very, very apt description. Right, what do we now do next? Presumably we've got to use the cages somehow. Right, so the first thing I'm seeing is these 14 cages are in different colours. So let's highlight those and fill in the options. So we now know that the 5, 6, 8 and 9, there's basically 2 ways of making 14 in 2 cells. It's either 6, 8 or it's 5, 9. So if that was 6, 8, for example, we would know this would have to be 5, 9 because purple and green share no digits in common. So that's not going to be enough, I don't think. Let's just try and spot something else. Oh, of course, right, of course. Okay, now I'm going to come and look at blue, because we now know that this 10 cage, which must contain a high digit and a low digit, you can't double 5 a 10 cage. What's the high digit in this 10 cage? Well, it's not 6, it's not 8, and it's not 9, so it must be 7. So that's the 3, 7 pair. Okay, let's try and keep this going. That's not actually impacted my 14, unsurprisingly. So that blue square definitely can't be a 3. So there's a 3 in one of those 2 cells. So there's a 3 in one of those 2 cells because of the palindrome. We've got an 11 cage in blue as well, which is catching my... Oh, yeah. Yes, got it. Right, the 11 cage in blue. What fills it? Well, we know it can't have a 3 and a 7 in it, because here is a knowledge bomb for you from Cracking the Cryptic. 3 and 7 don't add up to 11, but it must have one of those 2 digits in it. So it's got one of those 2 digits and this digit in it, whatever this happens to be. Well, can we put 3 in the 11 cage? And the answer is no, because if we put 3 in, we'll have to put 8 in, and that would imply that we can't now fill our 14 cages. We know there's an 8 in one of those 14 cages, and neither of these is blue. So we actually know this must be a 4-7 pair, I think. That feels correct to me. That gives me a 3 here, a 3 here, a 3 here because of the palindrome. So now so now this square is a 4 or a 7 in the 13 cage, which means that this square is a 9 or a 6 in green, which, that doesn't do anything. Bother. That's a 4 or a 7 as well. Now, can we do... I'm not exactly sure where to go next. I'm tempted to look at this string of digits though, because we know we've got 3. Oh yes, okay, this is obvious. Sorry, this cell is obvious because we now know blue throughout the grid is the digits 3, 4, and 7. But this is a 10 cage, so if I put 3 or 7 in here, this square would also have to be 3 or 7. And we know that 3 and 7 don't live in green, and we also know that the 3 and 7 that we would like to put in green in that instance are in those 3 squares and not here. So this has got to be 4, and therefore that's got to be 6. And now we know, yeah, this is really lovely. It's really lovely. It's very elegant because now green is 6. And if green's got 6 in it, it must have 8 in it, because we know that the 14 clues that we found down there share a 6 and one of them's 6, 8, one of them's 5, 9. So this one must be the 6, 8, and this must be the 5, 9. That means one of these two is 8. Looks like it's going to go there, doesn't it? Because that would pair up nicely with a 3. That can't. Ah, right. Yes. Okay. And now this can't be 9 anymore. It's 5, 9 there. So that's a 6. That's a 7, and that's a 4. And that's on a palindrome. Sorry, I only just spotted that. So that's filled in. So that's filled in over here. And now that square's a 4, that square's a 3, and that square's a 7 just by Sudoku. We're going to get lots of little puzzles, aren't we? Once we get a couple of digits in any particular colour, because we're basically just going to be able to fill that colour in throughout the grid. Yeah, 3, 7 pair here means that's a 4. That's on a palindrome. That gives me this digit. So this is a 3. Ah, the 7 now fills this one in. 7, 7, 3, 3. And we may as well complete these. 3, 4, 7. That gives me a 5. That's on a palindrome. That gives me a 5. That gives me the 5 and the 9. I think Listesh must have had a lot of fun constructing this, actually. It really is very elegant indeed. Now, this square, look, can't be a 4, so that can't be a 7. That's got to be 3. That's not surprising. That gives us our 8, gives us our 7 here, gives us a 7 and a 3 there and there. Okay. So now what do we do? That square is that's the last purple digit, which we don't know yet. So probably, yes, okay, we've got another of these little tricks of thinking about triples. Let's come and have a look at the 11 cage in purple. Now we know the 11 cage doesn't have 5 and 9 in it because 5 and 9 add to 14, but it must have one of those 3 digits in it. Now, if it had 5 in it, it would need a 6 alongside it, but we know 6 belongs to green. So it's not 5, it must be a 2, 9 pair. And it has a 5 outside the cage, I think. So now we can fill in 2s around the grid, probably. Yes, we can. 2, 9, that's on a palindrome. So 2, 9. That must be 9, that's on a palindrome. So now that's got to be 5. That's got to be 2, that's got to be 5, that's got to be 5, and that's got to be 2, and that's got to be 9, and that's got to be 2. This is on a palindrome as well. 5, 9, 2, 2, 9. Well, I might be in for a quick... Oh, I've messed it up. Oh, you silly boy. Oh, and I see what I've done. I've somehow managed to fill in the wrong digits on the palindrome. This is because I can't apparently type. That's a relief. 9 and 2 go there and there. 5 goes here, 2 goes here, 9 goes here. Oh, I see. Right, okay. And I was wondering how I was going to get the last green digit. And the way to get it is to realise I have got 8 digits identified, but I haven't put 1 in the grid yet. So that's going to be a 1 living down in the bottom there. Actually, I might have broke... Oh, no, hang on. I can't have broken it, but how... Hang on, I've suddenly had a horrible feeling about this. How am I going to resolve the greens? Am I being daft about this? There's no cages to help me disambiguate the ordering. So aren't I just going to get left with pairs and triples here? Ah, hang on a minute. I am very confused. I am very confused indeed. These are on palindromes, but I don't... Unless it... No, it doesn't. Ah. That's weird. Hang on, I've been filling these in wrong as well. I'm doing the same thing I did, I think, over here. This is 1, 6, so the palindrome equivalent that is 1, 8. This is 6, 8. That still doesn't resolve this digit. So this is 1 or 8. That's on a palindrome. Ah, maybe this 1 will do something. No, it won't. It won't. That's 6, 8. That's 6, 8. That's 6, 8. This is 1, 6 or 8. This one can be all 3. So that can be 1, 6 or 8. This can be 1, 6 or 8. And this can be 1, 6 or 8. I have a horrible feeling there's a sting in the tail for this. That's 1, 8. That's 1, 8. Okay. What do we do now? That is a good question. So perhaps problem is the palindromes. They never see. You see, I was wondering, you know, could you make an assumption about this digit which would feed into this digit, and then maybe that affects something, but it doesn't. Oh, that's weird. Okay, now I can see how to do this. This square is how you do it. Yeah, that's really interesting. So it's like a bent triple. It's a Y-wing, isn't it? So this square here, if it's a 6, you have to put a 1 here. But if it's an 8, you have to put a 1 here. So in the final grid, one of these two squares simply has to be a 1. At least one of these two squares has to be a 1. And whichever one it is, this square could never be a 1. If you make this a 1, you'll get a 6 here, an 8 here, and that square's got no fill. So that is how you solve the puzzle. That's really weird the way that's worked out, and very counterintuitive. Apologies if that should have been more obvious to me, but I think that may help. But yes, it's going to help because of the palindromes. So now we can finish this off. We can go 8 here, 1 here, 6 here. And this is on a palindrome, I see. So we get all the, oh, I almost did it wrong again. 8, 1, 6 goes like that. 8 and 6 go in here. That's now a 1. This is now an 8, and that's a 6. And that is how to solve. That's a quick fire solve today of a beautiful, beautiful little puzzle. It's a little vignette, isn't it? It really is. And very, I've done it quite prettily for once. Extreme roping. So I hope you enjoyed that and don't feel shortchanged by what probably is going to be a sub 20-minute video, which is probably the first sub 20-minute video I have done in perhaps years. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. I'm sure you will. I mean, that is really a very nice puzzle. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.